guys have been sort of sheltered for many years. We never really got to talk to you guys. What's it like now sort of working for Microsoft and being able to sort of get out and talk about your games a little more than you used to?
It's interesting. None of us are really used to it, and we're not exactly the most comfortable people doing it. So it's a learning experience, but it's fine. It's just another part of the media now, because it seems to be everyone's a lot more interested in the teams that are actually making it, where you used to be able to just push a game out there and leave it and just kind of walk away, and then people would pick up the game.
So you guys picked up an award last night for Viva Pinata. How do you feel about that?
That's really good. Kind of at the end of the day, that's what we make games for. It's for people to appreciate and kind of enjoy, so it's just a good thing.
I would like to see maybe in a sequel for Viva Pinata is maybe more online interaction with other people. Did you guys have a more robust online features for the game, but maybe you had to cut them at the end other than just sort of sharing the items the way it's set up now?
I think the trading was the most important thing that we wanted to do, and we didn't really want to kind of confuse the issue. It was just all about the trading, and that was the one thing we wanted to put all the emphasis on.
Now, sequel. You think you guys are going to end up cranking out a sequel for Viva Pinata? You have sort of the animated cartoon on TV now. It's sort of turning into this massive brand versus just a video game. Are you guys going to continue on with the series?
Absolutely. We're going to continue on with the series. I mean, we've got, as you said, we've got the cartoon and we've got toys coming out and things. The team's kind of just sitting back now and relaxing kind of after the game. So we're still working out what we're going to do next.
What is next on your docket? What's the next game you're working on?
Well, I've actually now moved over onto the Banjo team, so I'm kind of like helping them and creating the world, the new kind of Banjo world, so it's going to be interesting.
And when you say new, is it going to be a lot different than what we're used to with the game?
Well, no, it's still going to be the same characters, it's still going to be the same thing. It's just, obviously, it was so many years ago that Banjo was around. We've got a lot of technology and a lot of new things to kind of try and pour into that world, so that's what we're trying to make it a richer place now.
Now, do you see the new Banjo as a continuation of the series, or is it going to be something to sort of that starts off on its own and starts sort of a new series?
It's all part of the whole Banjo thing. It's still the same characters and the same thing, so it's a game for the people that appreciated the game years ago, and also new people that are kind of coming to the 360. Grunty
going to return?
You'll have to wait and see.
Well, we've killed her like 3 times now, and she always seems to come back, so maybe I should just assume she is going to be back.
Maybe.
You can't have a Banjo game without Grunty, right?
Yeah, I suppose.
A big part of the game was sort of how you worked in tandem with Banjo and Kazooie. Are you guys going to sort of push that idea even further with this game?
Well, we've got a lot of new kind of ideas, what they want to do with the franchise, and the designers have come up with some very interesting things. You just have to wait and see. It's going to be very good.
Stop and swap?
Not that again.
It'll never go away.
No, but yeah, so I don't think we'll be doing that.
For the record, what happened with Stop and Swap?
I'm not actually sure about the whole logistics of it, but kind of like pulling cartridges out and sticking other cartridges in. I think they just decided in the end that it probably wasn't a brilliant idea.
Rare's been through a lot of transition over the last 5 years. You guys built up a huge fan base during the N64 years. It's probably tough for a lot of those sort of Nintendo fans to migrate over to the 360. What would you say to your fan base to sort of convince them to, really stick with you guys and see what you guys are working on in the future?
I don't know really how to say to convince people to keep buying our games, but we're just going to keep doing what we do, and we're going to keep trying to innovate and create new ideas. We've got such a long history with Nintendo, and our relationship with them is so good anyway still, because that was an important thing. So I think the industry needs these companies that are willing to just keep taking these risks, and we're one of them. So.
And you have a company that's willing to let you take the risks, right?
Absolutely. That's the brilliant thing about Microsoft, where they've got so much backing we have with them that they kind of just say, just go and do something interesting. And being part of the first party, that's what we're there for. We're there to do interesting things, and hopefully other people will follow.
Do you sometimes feel like you're fighting an uphill battle, though, trying to create sort of family-friendly games for the 360, a platform where it's, mostly 35-year-old dudes, shooting each other online in Gears of War or something like that? Like your games, to me, your games don't seem like a perfect fit for that platform. Do you guys ever sort of get frustrated and be like, man, if we could just make games for Nintendo platforms again, where they sort of have that built-in audience? You ever think about that?
I think it's more interesting that we're trying to do the same kind of thing on the 360, because we're going to try and build that audience. And the 35-year-old guy, he's got to have a kid someday, so.
Now, the Stampers have left Rare. How do you think that that's going to impact you guys in the long run? It sounds to me like they came up with a lot of the concepts for your games, but how do you think that's going to affect you guys long term?
I don't think it's going to be kind of too bad because we've got all our old directors that are still there. I mean, Greg Males, he's been at the company longer than I know, and there's Mark Bettridge who's now there. I think he was the first employee that the Stampers ever had. So of course, we're all still the same kind of group and the same family.
Now, how was the company run while the Stampers were there? Did they have final approval? Did they have their stamp of approval to put on every idea, or were they did they let you guys sort of run with your ideas?
They kind of just let us go. I mean, obviously they had their own pet projects. It's like Viva Pinata was Tim's kind of baby that he kind of started the ball rolling. So he'd always come down and be interested to see how we were doing with it. But he kind of pretty much stood back and let us do our own thing.